This morning, officials in Texas are asking the state Supreme Court to make the final call on when it's okay for a doctor to perform an abortion in an emergency. Right now, abortion is illegal in the state. The only exception is to save the life of the mother. A district judge issued a ruling over the weekend that sought to clarify that exception, and the Attorney General's office blocked it within a matter of hours. Stephanie Haynes is live in Dallas. And Stephanie, you spoke to people on both sides of this. What are they telling you?
Hey, Marky, good morning. Well, to be clear, this ruling does not seek to overturn the abortion law in Texas as it stands. As you said, it seeks to clarify when exactly a doctor can perform an abortion lawfully in an emergency situation when the patient's life or health is at risk. Some people say that right now, under the Texas law, that is not clear. Others say, yes, it is clear. And now they want the state Supreme Court to step in. The debate over abortion access continues to play out in Texas. The Center for Reproductive Rights is suing the state on behalf of 2 doctors and at least 13 patients. Amanda Zarowski is one of them.
I was dilating prematurely, and that condition leads to an inevitable miscarriage. But rather than being able to intervene, my doctors could not provide an abortion because the baby's heart was still beating and my life wasn't considered at risk. We just had to wait for one of those things to change before they could provide health care. I went into septic shock.
She is one of several women who testified at a hearing a few weeks ago, saying the ban put their lives at risk. Under Texas law, an abortion can only be performed when a life-threatening physical condition places the patient at risk of death or serious risk of substantial impairment. A doctor from Massachusetts testified a few weeks ago as an expert witness, saying that the law, in his mind, is not clear.
The laws as they're currently written, the medical exceptions, they're confusing.
The judge clarified in her ruling that a physical emergent medical condition under the Texas abortion law should include a pregnancy with risk of infection or is otherwise unsafe for the patient's health, a physical condition that is exacerbated by pregnancy and cannot be treated during that time or requires recurrent invasive intervention, or a condition where the fetus is unlikely to survive. Several hours later, the Office of the Attorney General blocked the ruling from the district judge. In a statement, writing in part, quote, "Protecting the health of mothers and babies is of paramount importance to the people of Texas, a moral principle enshrined in the law which states that an abortion may be performed under limited circumstances. Texas pro-life laws are in full effect. This judge's ruling is not." Some groups agreeing that the law is in fact clear for doctors.
They can intervene immediately when that pregnancy provides a threat or poses a threat to the mother's life, and there's no reason to wait. So I do want to say to those women, my heart goes out to them. I want the best outcome for them. I think of them often, and I can't imagine the pain and the heartache that they've gone through. But the law is clear.
She says that her organization has studied federal data on abortions, and no doctor has faced prosecution for following the law in terms of providing abortions here in Texas. If a doctor is found to be not following this current abortion law, they could face up to life in prison and a $100,000 fine, Marky.
I know that case played out in an Austin, Texas courtroom, and at times that testimony was tough. It was emotional. It was graphic to hear. Stephanie Haynes, thanks so much this morning.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.